Hello, hello.
Hi, hi.
You gonna give it away?
Yeah, I can. Welcome to another episode of ISBN-Depth. Happy Turkey Month, everyone. I hope everyone is safe and well and that you can spend time with your family this holiday season. But today's topic, we're discussing Native American stories. First, we would like to remind everyone of our November events.
Like how you're like, I hope everybody has a good time with their family, and I'm like, can't wait for the days off because
I know, I'm excited.
my mom's off work, so I'm like, or not off work, she's at work, so I get the apartment to myself, and so like, I'm like, what can I do for my 4
Holidays
days?
alone, that's true too.
Probably read a book. All right, back to the closings. Our first closing is November 11th, which is a Monday, and that's Veterans Day, so we get a nice 3-day weekend.
Ooh, yay. And our next closing will be November the 20th through the 30th, which is Thursday through Saturday for Thanksgiving. Yes, I'm excited.
And remember, we're closed Sunday, so we'll be open that Monday, so it's like a nice 5-day break.
Yep.
And then December 4th, we're going to be which is a Friday, we're going to be closing at 5 instead of 6 that day, and that's going to be for our holiday staff dinner. So, and then I don't know why I didn't skip this one. Anyway, and then so November is Food for Fines. So during the whole month of November, you're able to bring in 2 non-perishable items, dried food or jars of peanut butter, or a combination of the two, to have your fines forgiven and waived. It doesn't count for lost or damaged books, though, but it counts for any late fees.
And then November is International Game Month.
Shout out to Ari and her Spanish bingo. It runs Saturdays 2 to 3, and I forgot to put which Saturday it is. Look on the guide or look on the website online. I just wrote Saturdays. So, but it's, I think, the second or third Saturday. It's one Saturday a month from 2 to 3.
You know, I used to play Spanish bingo in high school. That was really fun.
But you did grow up. She lived out west.
Yeah, New Mexico. So yes. And then after school D&D is Wednesday.
That's with our good friend Ben over there, off screen. And
Shout out to Ben.
Yeah, the one who always edits us and makes us look our best, except when he doesn't tell me that I kept saying October 8th in the last podcast and not October 3rd. So if anybody watched the last podcast episode,
I didn't even catch that.
The thing is, it's titled October 3rd, which is the Mean Girls and Full Metal Alchemist days, but I kept saying October 8th. Oops. So I swear I know my pop culture. Anyway.
So you say.
So I say. After school board games are Thursdays in the teen center. It's usually a rotation. I know like Lana was doing sort of like a checkered. She plays checkers and she also dominates them in a Connect 4 tournament, which they really enjoy.
And after school game day is Fridays in the Children's Center.
And then chess club is weekly on Thursdays at Seymour from 3:30 to 6. And I believe they have a pretty good following there, but it's mostly like kids. It's not like adults, unfortunately, but they seem to have a lot of fun.
Nice. And fun fact, November is Picture Book Month.
So make sure to read you a good
picture book. Who doesn't like a good picture book?
I was trying to think of I was trying to answer your question, like I don't know, people who just don't enjoy joy.
No, they don't.
So events going on this upcoming month, November 18th, which is a Monday. Jessica will be having her family fun time from 6 to 7, and they'll be making glycerin soap.
Ooh, ooh, nice.
I don't even know what glycerin soap is.
It's glycerin. Soap that's glycerin.
I wonder if it's like sort of like the jelly looking.
It might
soap.
be. That would be fun though.
Sign up.
Yeah,
and
find out what us.
Yeah, sign up and tell us what it is.
All right, December 5th. Don't know what day December 5th is, but from 10 to 4:30, creative space make and take DIY Christmas cards and gift tags.
I think it's a Thursday.
You didn't put it.
I know, but I think it's a Thursday, and I left a spot for it. It's blank. I don't know what happened. Anyway, and then Seymour on November 8th, which is a Friday, they're gonna have their Seymour Puppet Club. So this is like I think their second or third month doing this one. So it's where kids will like, she'll break them up into little groups, and they'll make up their little skits, and then they'll perform them. So they write the skits and then they perform them. And this one's gonna be folk tales. Nice. One last one.
And then Kodak, November 25th from 4 to 5, adult crafts, alcohol ink ornaments. What's alcohol ink ornaments?
Um, so either the ink is alcohol based or they're gonna drip alcohol on the ink
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
make like sort of starburst effects. I
Oh,
think.
okay.
And I also didn't put a day for that one.
No,
This
you,
is not
only
my most
on mine. Why is that? It's just the one on mine.
sabotage.
I
No,
can tell. Yes.
gotta haze the new person. Not only did I be like, you can write the introduction, you don't get to know the days.
No.
I just assume that I don't know what I did. I did not.
You didn't check yourself. Is what you didn't
This
do.
is not my most polished script.
It's okay.
We do script these if you guys don't think we do. So yeah, that moves us on to our topic of the month, which was Native American authors, and kind of, we get a lot for like Thanksgiving and like the Pilgrims and the Indians, but like also it's like, Indigenous Native American month in the United States. So we kind of want to give a nod out to them and their stories and things. And so yeah, I'm first. I don't actually have my book. I read it on Libby. Shout out to Libby.
Ooh.
It's called Never Whistle at Night. It's edited by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst Jr. So it's a very beautiful cover. I'll have Ben flash it up on the screen here. It's an anthology of 26 horror stories from Native American authors from the United States and Canada. And it was like long, like because usually when I read an anthology, I go through it kind of quick.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm a huge anthology. I'm more of like a novel person. And I have a friend who reads anthologies, but she'll pick and choose. Like if she's not vibing with it, she'll just skip it. I'll read it through. So, but yeah, it was like a long book, but it was really good. Like most all of them I enjoyed. I picked like about 3 favorites. There's, and forgive me, any Native Americans watching this from, Sevierville, Tennessee. If I pronounce any of these words wrong. Well, it's really only this one. It's a Kushtuka or Kushtaka. It's one of the first ones by Mathilda Zeller. And then Quantum by Nick Medina. And then The Scientist Horror Story by Darcy Little Badger. And what was interesting about this book is like almost all of it was like contemporary. I think there were only like maybe 2 stories that were like set in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And one wasn't even like super far. It was maybe like the 70s or the 80s. And then the other one was, it was hard to tell what that one was. There was like a stream of thought, and I couldn't tell if it's set in the present or in the past, but it was written like the past, but like there were ghosts maybe looking onto the present. And it wasn't my favorite. Just the writing style of it was kind of not great for me. But I think Quantum was one of my favorites, and that had to do with like 2 sons were born. They had different dads, and the mom was Native, and one of the other dads was Native, but the other one was just, I guess, a white guy. And when they came back with the blood test results for the quantum, the amount within, the firstborn son, who was by the white father, didn't have enough to be on the tribal list, and then the other son did, and then so she starts treating them differently, because the one on the tribal list is gonna get money from the casino and go to school and have like sort of the perks that are afforded, and the other one wasn't. And so it was very interesting. And they don't all deal with that. Some do, some don't. Some of the characters are very aware of their Native American heritage, and there's others that weren't really aware of their Native American heritage, or it's like it's in the background. And some of them are more traditional. They're just really good. Like honestly, there was only like maybe 3 or 4 out of the 26 that I just didn't like, and like most of them were fine. There was one that gave me the heebie-jeebies. 2 that gave me the heebie-jeebies, like body gore wise.
Mm-hmm.
One guy got bit by a tick, and the tick just kept growing
Mm-hmm.
and growing and growing and growing. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I had to skim that one. And then there was another one where like a little boy was turning into a monster, and like all his fingernails fell out, and his back molars fell out, and I was like, oh, it's so gross. It's so,
Interesting.
yeah. But I recommend it. It was like well done, because usually like if you read an anthology, there's like it's a hit or miss. Like some of them are okay, some of them are like not so good. Almost all of these were like excellent.
That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah, and one of the authors, Tommy Orange, who's kind of sort of popular. People, if they're going to hear of a Native American author recently, it's going to be Tommy Orange. We've got his book There, and he just had a new book come out this year. I don't remember the name of it, but it's got a blue cover. For any investigative librarians out there, Tommy Orange blue cover will get you far. But he also had a book, or he had a story in Never Was All Night. It was not my favorite, but I've read There. It's been a few years. I don't remember the plot clearly, but it was good. Like I think have my copy at home.
Nice.
And that is my long spiel.
That sounds really interesting. That's
Yeah.
something I want to check out now.
Yeah, it's on Libby. Or at least I think it's on our Libby. I have my friends' library cards too to get wider like effects. So one of them's over in like Chicago. I got the Chicago card, and then I've got like a different region in Tennessee, and then I think another friend in Virginia. So I've kind of got some. Like I can't like it's always hard to say we have it on Libby. It's like because it is on Libby, but is it on our Libby? Not sure.
Yeah, there is a difference. Yeah,
you could probably interlibrary loan it though. I'm sure a Tennessee library has it. It's a relatively new book, like came out maybe last year.
Nice.
So,
all right. For me, I wanted to go with the Native Americans' history. At first, I was thinking about which tribe I wanted to know more of, and I realized that I don't know much about any tribes. So I picked a book that talks about all history of what happened when the white people came to settle in America, and I picked the book called Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. It is a very hard book. When it talks about the history, and what I love about it is how the book presents itself. It goes through the dates of the year, so it's all in, what is that, chronological order?
Yep, when it's sequential, like 81, 82, 83
Yep.
chronological.
Yep. So it's really nice to talk that it talks about the whole history of when, by the time it started to by the time it ended, all in chronological order, and they have pulled a history from each of the major tribes. But it was a hard read because the truth behind it is very, very heartbreaking. Like, I knew it was bad from school. They talk about like it was bad. I didn't realize it was very much worse than what I've even imagined, and how a lot of the generals and colonels at the time, and of course the government officials, only told partial truths or admitted truths or just told up straight lies that turned the Native Americans into like myths and legends, and how like false facts that Native Americans were the first ones to attack, which wasn't true. And it's really heartbreaking, but I highly recommend it, especially to know the truth and to hear their stories of how it was from their perspective. But on the lighter note, I ended up picking up another book. It's Native Americans in Early Photography. Yes, photographs. Thank you. And the reason why I had that book, one, it's Picture Book November, which is really fun. And this is a fun book because it's oversized and it's just big, which is nice. But the pictures that they show in there also have to do with the book I'm reading. So it's really nice to see like pictures when they talk about like specific Native Americans or specific warriors and chiefs. It's also in this book, so it's like it just becomes more real instead of just a story. It's like these are real people, this is their history, this is what happened to them, and these are who they are. So it's really nice to have that reference.
So did Wounded Knee reference the photograph book, or is that just something you kind of thought to do?
It was something I thought to do. How it happened was, I guess a patron checked it out, and I needed to put it away, and I was, when I was putting it on the shelf, I was looking at it, I'm like, I just want to see like what kind of photographs they have, and I realized that some of the chiefs that are in there and some of the people that are in there are also in the book I'm reading. So it's like really nice how it kind of went hand in hand, even though it was by two different people, two different times. And it has more information. It has like other tribes in there, or like places, canyons and things like that. It's just really fun.
And the book, the Wounded Knee. So obviously it probably starts around the Spanish coming over, or does it even go back further than that?
It does briefly talk about him. I know it starts in the mid 1800s.
Okay.
They briefly like mention about
So like when expansion's really taking off.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then do you know roughly like when it ends? Like chronologically?
Oh, I want to say ends around the early 1900s.
Okay. So like World War is World War are they mentioned?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, I haven't finished yet. I'm like on chapter 16. I want to say there's 20 chapters. I had to put it down several times just to give myself like a mental break because it's a very like
heavy book.
It's a heavy book. It's a very emotional and it's very like frustrating to know like because they were constantly told how each tribe needs to go to this reservation, and they were told like you will have plenty of food, you will have gifts, like you won't need anything. And by the time they got there, they realized like they don't have anything.
Yeah.
They barely got enough food to feed them. Like they were starving them, and it makes you wonder, was this done on purpose? And I think in some tribes and some reservations it was completely done on purpose, whereas others it was
still neglect.
It was complete neglect. And it was just, that's one of the reasons what made it so hard. But it's also like, I don't want to say it's gruesome, but it does have some it talks about some of what happened and the wars, of course. And it's just, it breaks your heart of like, how can you just treat people like this, like any people? And it's a really great one to learn from because, you know, it happened again 100 years later, just in a different country. There's like a lot of similarities I see between how the Native Americans were treated and how the Jews were treated in World War II. There's a lot of similarities, and it's like, how often is this going to keep happening? This is going to keep happening in another 100 years. So it's really great to know and to pass on, so we can like put a stop to this and see the signs and, you know, pull people out who have too much power, who shouldn't have that much power, and put someone better in.
Well, like even during, you know, World War I, the Jew that was happening with Jews, but it was also happening here at home with Japanese internment camps. Like it wasn't just in another country; it still happens in our country today. And there's, you know, they're still fighting for their land rights and trying to fight pipelines and trying to preserve their language because and culture that was decimated with those like reform schools. Which actually this kind of jogged my memory when I was looking at the images thing. In college we had to put together I was in a like introduction to museum art class, and we put together an actual gallery for our campus in the art building, and we did Native Americans. So or part of it was Native Americans. It was sort of like showing different, it's been so long, it's been several years, I'm trying to remember the exact theme, but it would show sort of like, I think one half was like Africans and the other half was Native Americans, and we'd have like how they were stereotyped versus how they represented themselves. And so like I remember like there was a Kim Kardashian magazine with like a wine or champagne bottle, and that was but that was pulled from actually like early 1900s things making fun of black people. And then there was with the Native Americans, you sort of had like gas station posters and those like wooden Native Americans that were sort of a caricature. It's like one of those, it's like we actually like, it's like we're erasing their story and putting this like homogenized Hollywood version out. And so that was part of the so we had like pictures, and then we had like art by like Native American artists on like posters and things. I think they're apart from the World's Fair and maybe like the Chicago one. But yeah, no, that just kind of jogged my memory. I was like, oh yeah, I've sort of done something similar.
See, and this book has been inspired me to want to learn more about their history and their culture. They also do, I learned recently, they do Power House, which is a dance celebration, and it looks so much fun. And they welcome all kinds of people to come in and check it out. And I told my husband, like, I want to go to one of these one day. I want to check it out and learn their culture more and see what ceremonies they held?
Well, not too far from here. I don't know with all the storms, but Cherokee, North Carolina. They have like powwows and things, and I think they have like a Cherokee language school and stuff like that. So that's just it's not even like an hour and a half drive away that you guys could check that out. Of course, there's other other places to go. That was off the top of my head because we're right there.
Yeah, close to. I knew we were close to one. I knew it was a Cherokee.
Yeah, Cherokee itself's like a really small town. I went like recently. We went tubing. It was nice, but there was a Native American, and there's a Native American bookstore. It was next to a Japanese restaurant.
Ooh.
But I wanted to go in, but it closed. I think it probably closed at like 5, and it was like 6. But yeah. So I think we've done pretty good this podcast. We've stayed on topic. November we think holidays and thankfulness and stuff like that. But we also, have this idea of Native American history that's told through the U.S. government school system, and even as little kids, like, oh, the Pilgrims and the Indians helped each other out, and that became the first Thanksgiving, and we know that's much more complex than that,
and it's much darker. But I understand why they don't talk about that in schools, because like I'm almost 30 and this is mentally hard for me. I can imagine learning about like this at such a young age, but I wish it was talked about more, especially in the adults of like, yes, I am very, very grateful to be here and to have this land. It's just how we got it and how it's obtained is just completely wrong.
Yeah, and it's one of those, it's like a lot of people don't want to learn the history because it does make them feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel ashamed, and to some degree, even though we
had no control over it.
No, we don't have control over what our ancestors do, but we still feel bad though. Yeah. So, and I think that's why a lot of people kind of shy away from things, and like the slavery topic and stuff, and not to get too much into politics, but it sort of goes around the discussion of the diversity movement and inclusion and the exclusion of the diversity movement and stuff like that. And I think it's just because these are hard truths that we have to face and acknowledge.
My biggest struggle I'm in facing right now is that I can't do anything. I can't go back to the past and help protest. I can't do anything about the past, but there are different things I've been looking into to see what I can help with now, because even though it's not like that anymore, it's still not better.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. We're not all equal.
Yeah.
So, and the first step to doing that is getting informed, and we're lucky and privileged in a way that we can set the book down if it gets hard.
Yeah.
And come back to it later. But this is people's histories, and and of course, like, we're not Native American, so we can't really define their experiences, and like reading through these books, you can obviously, every person's an individual and you get different experiences. Like the anthology was, some of them were hardly aware of their Native American roots, and then other ones were trying to reclaim their roots. And so it was kind of nice, and in a way just kind of see how they depicted themselves and how they depicted themselves as like people just like us, like if we were in that situation, how would we, it humanizes them, and
it does,
helps you realize, hey, we're all kind of the same most of the time. At least our experiences, or not our experiences, but like how, like, we emotionally connect to experiences and things like that. So, a little bit heavy, but also maybe, some time to pause and reflect over the long holiday and the break. We can be thankful, but also, think about some of the heavier topics.
Thankful and aware.
Yeah, that's the first step, is an awareness. And you can start at the library, and you don't have to start with anything super duper heavy.
No, we have all kinds of different books too. We have some lighter books, some easier books.
We have documentaries. Like, I got a memoir from the teen section, and then this one right here is from the adult nonfiction diversity section. The you can't see it, I have to tell you what it is. Notable Native people, and it's is this the one that has maybe The Rock in it?
Does it?
Maybe it's that, I can't remember if this one has the Asian, like, counts Asian as Native American, as a native, or like Pacific Asian, not East Asian. But anyway, it's still, it shows you, you know, people that you wouldn't think of exactly off the top of your head. You're like, oh yeah. So not everything's always, you know, sad and reservation life and
Right.
reform schools, but those are also there too. All right, so next month is December. So we'll have some more closings going on just for the winter holidays and New Year's, but we're going to be keeping it cozy with classics.
Ooh, yes. I'm
so
excited. I know I want to read.
I keep bouncing back and forth. I'll figure it out. I think right now it's between Orlando or The Secret Garden. Everybody's telling me to read Moby Dick, but that one's really long right now, and the audiobook's not available.
Moby Dick. I tried it a few times, and I'm like, I just can't get into it.
I feel like I can. It's just my friends insisted on me doing an audio, like a dramatic reading specifically.
A dramatic reading. You should.
But none of the audiobooks are available right now, Libby. So,
Oh no.
but Orlando is available, and I've read The Secret Garden before. Is the only reason I'm not like, I'm kind of putting it off, because I want to try to read something I haven't read before, and I love The Secret Garden. I love a lot of classics.
I do too.
So
See, the book I want to read, I've already read before, but I can't help it because it's just, I love it.
you're allowed to reread. You don't have to be like
Yes!
me.
Yay! Because I love it.
All right, so that wraps us up. Like always, thank you, Ben, for making us look good and
Thank you.
sound decent. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I know, hopefully.
Alrighty, well, see you next time.
Bye.